millions of plastic bottles are thrown away every single day. Only a small part of them ever gets recycled. The rest ends up in rivers, oceans, and landfills, forming endless mountains of waste. But in India, some of those bottles are given a new life, turning into high-tech sportswear. The planet produces more than 400 million tons of plastic every year, and most of it takes centuries to decompose. It is as if every single minute a full truckload of trash were dumped straight into the ocean. Yet inside India's enormous factories, engineers and workers are proving that the destiny of this plastic can be completely different. After all, how does something meant for the trash become the fabric worn by athletes all around the world? Every year the world produces more than 400 million tons of plastic. A massive portion of it ends up in rivers, dumps, and oceans, with no clear destination. Now imagine if all that material could have a new life. Not as waste, but as something that dresses athletes, creates jobs, and powers one of today's most advanced industries. That is exactly what is happening inside several factories in India, where what once seemed disposable is being turned into cutting-edge textile technology. Have you ever thought that the sports shirt you wear to the gym might have started as a simple plastic bottle? Most people have no idea how that transformation happens, and it is exactly that curiosity that takes us inside an industrial complex that is redefining the concept of plastic recycling, a place where waste becomes recycled polyester, and every thread carries a story of innovation and purpose. India, one of the most populated countries in the world, faces a silent challenge: the overwhelming amount of plastic discarded every day. Empty bottles pile up on streets, rivers, and vacant lots, creating colorful carpets that stretch for miles. Most of that waste is made from PET, the same plastic used in soda and water bottles. It takes centuries to break down, and while it does, it pollutes the soil, blocks drainage systems, and threatens marine life. What few people realize is that this same material can be reused to create something with real technological value. Along the banks of the Yamuna River in New Delhi, it is common to see tons of waste floating in slow, muddy currents. The scene looks chaotic, but within that chaos lies a massive opportunity. Indian companies have discovered that waste can be the beginning of a process that is both efficient and profitable. Behind every discarded bottle, there is the potential to create jobs, reduce environmental impact, and produce high-quality goods. What was once a social and ecological problem is now turning into an economic engine powered by innovation. This change in mindset was born out of necessity. The country needed to manage millions of tons of plastic waste without relying on overflowing landfills or harmful incineration. That is when the idea emerged: to turn plastic into something new, creating a modern circular economy that combines recycling, industrial sustainability, and textile technology. From that point on, what was once garbage begins a journey of transformation, guided by highly structured factories and precisely controlled PET recycling processes. But this story does not begin inside the factories. It begins on the streets, in the hands of waste pickers who collect bottles from piles of urban trash. They take the first step in a cycle that goes far beyond collection, a cycle that brings value back to what once seemed lost. And it is in this transition between disposal and reuse that the true power of ecological innovation begins to appear. Everything starts the moment a plastic bottle is thrown away. For most people, that action marks the end of its life, but in India, it is only the beginning of a new production chain. In crowded neighborhoods, waste pickers move through streets and markets collecting what many consider trash. Each bottle is sorted, compressed, and sold by weight to small recycling centers scattered across the country. These centers act as the starting point of a recycling network that connects entire communities to the industrial sector. After collection, the bottles are sent to regional depots, where they are classified by type of plastic and condition. PET material used in most beverage bottles is the most valuable. There, trained teams perform manual and mechanical sorting to remove caps, labels, and impurities. This first stage is crucial to ensure the quality of the PET recycling process, since any contamination can affect the purity of the recycled polyester produced later. The transport to Indian factories is done by large trucks loaded with tons of compressed bottles. When they arrive, the scene changes completely. Piles of colorful plastic are unloaded, ready to start a carefully planned production process. Each batch is weighed, catalogued, and sent to the next stage. This is where the circular economy begins to take shape, transforming what was once waste into valuable raw material for India's textile industry. Watching this stage makes it clear that the real value lies not only in the plastic, but in the people behind it. Collectors, drivers, and sorting workers form a network that sustains this entire sustainable production chain. This first part is the foundation of transformation, and what comes next reveals how this simple material begins to change in both form and purpose. Inside India's factories, the first contact between plastic and technology is a crucial moment. The bottles that arrive crushed and dirty move along wide conveyor belts equipped with high-precision optical sensors. Each fragment is identified by its composition and color, ensuring that only PET plastic moves forward. This stage determines the quality of the entire recycled material, directly affecting the final result of the recycled polyester used to make sustainable sportswear. The belts move at a steady rhythm, and the machines work in perfect sync to keep production continuous. Everything is measured with precision, speed, density, and purity. The goal is to ensure that every bottle is turned into clean and uniform raw material. It is a blend of ecological innovation and textile technology that transforms what would have been waste into a valuable resource. Materials that do not meet the standards are redirected for other uses, avoiding waste and reinforcing the idea of industrial sustainability. Beyond the technical precision, the process is visually striking. Mountains of bottles gradually begin to look like transparent crystal fragments ready for the next phase. The industrial environment is carefully controlled for efficiency and safety, ensuring nothing goes to waste. This attention to detail is what sets modern Indian factories apart. They have evolved from small local workshops into technological hubs capable of competing with the largest recycling centers in the world. This sorting stage is not just a technical step, it is the turning point between trash and rebirth. From here on, the plastic begins to change its shape and identity, preparing for the next process that will mark the start of its physical transformation. Each separated bottle carries the potential to become something entirely new, where science and engineering finally meet. After sorting, the plastic moves on to one of the most important stages of the process: washing. In this phase, the goal is to eliminate any residue that could affect the quality of the recycled polyester. The bottles go through industrial tanks filled with hot water and specific cleaning solutions that dissolve glue, labels, and organic particles. The result is a clean material, free of impurities and ready to become something completely new. Every liter of water used is filtered and reused several times, reducing environmental impact and making the system more efficient. The factory in India is designed to make the most of every resource. Large centrifuges remove excess moisture, while high-pressure filters ensure the purity of the material. This stage shows how industrial sustainability can be applied in a practical and intelligent way without waste. The bottles now look like translucent fragments, almost like small gems. This cleaning is not just aesthetic, it defines the quality standard required by India's textile industry to create high-performance fabrics. Temperature and timing control are extremely strict. If the heating is too fast, the material can lose its chemical properties. If it is too slow, the process becomes inefficient. Every minute matters. Technicians monitor the constant flow of material, ensuring that the final result maintains the strength and purity needed for sustainable production. It is the combination of chemical knowledge and logistical precision that makes this stage a milestone in waste recycling. When the washing process is complete, the plastic looks completely renewed. It no longer resembles trash. The shine of the clean material signals the next step: shredding and transformation into flakes, where plastic begins to take the shape of a new raw material. This is the point where recycling stops being just an idea and becomes something tangible. When the clean plastic reaches this stage, it is ready to completely change its appearance. The bottles are shredded by machines that reduce them into small transparent fragments known as flakes. Each piece represents a basic unit of value within the recycling process of plastic bottles. The goal is to turn the solid material into uniform particles with controlled size and density. These flakes are the foundation for producing recycled polyester, the essential raw material used to make future sustainable sportswear. The constant sound of blades cutting through the material marks the beginning of the physical transformation of plastic. The PET that was once discarded and dirty now becomes a clean and valuable resource, ready to enter the next manufacturing stages. The uniformity of the flakes is important because it directly affects the melting and strength of the textile fiber. This is the stage where waste stops being waste and gains purpose within the circular economy, combining technology, sustainability, and full material recovery. After being shredded, the material passes through industrial sieves that separate the fragments according to the ideal size for melting. Flakes that are too large are sent back for another round of shredding, while the smaller ones continue to the melting process. Nothing is wasted. The goal is to obtain a product of controlled purity, essential to maintain the quality of the high-performance fabric that will be made in the following stages. Each flake represents a perfect balance between mechanical precision and environmental responsibility. Visually, the transformation is striking. Piles of colorful bottles turn into shiny mounds of translucent fragments, almost like grains of glass. What most people do not imagine is that this material is already very close to becoming a next-generation textile fiber. The next step will show how these small flakes are heated, melted, and shaped into flexible threads ready to be used by India's textile industry. At this stage, the plastic stops being a fragment and begins to take on its new form. The peat flakes are carried into large metallic funnels, where they are heated to high temperatures until they become a viscous, uniform mass. This melted material is pushed through filters and tiny molds that create continuous, strong filaments. Each thread is the result of a carefully controlled process that combines heat, pressure, and precision. This is where recycled polyester is born, ready to power large-scale sustainable textile production. As the melted mass transforms into thin filaments, the environment is carefully monitored. Viscosity, temperature, and extrusion speed determine the quality of the final product. If any of these factors are off balance, the thread can lose strength and elasticity. For this reason, technicians and engineers watch every detail, ensuring that the result is perfectly consistent. It is the kind of production process that demands discipline and chemical expertise, turning waste recycling into a true form of industrial innovation. Once the material leaves the molds, it is cooled and stretched at high speed. This stretching aligns the molecules, increasing the strength of the fiber and improving its texture. The result is a shiny, lightweight, and incredibly durable filament. It is then wound onto large spools and sent to the next manufacturing stages. It is hard to believe that these fibers once came from discarded bottles, but that contrast is exactly what makes India's textile industry a global example of ecological innovation. These threads represent more than an industrial product. They are the link between waste and modern clothing, between trash and athletic performance. Every meter of thread carries a story of transformation and human intelligence. The next chapter of this journey will show how this material becomes breathable, comfortable fabrics ready to dress athletes and consumers around the world. With the recycled polyester threads ready, the phase where the material finally takes shape begins. Weaving machines feed dozens of spools at once, interlacing the filaments in continuous movements until they form wide sheets of fabric. The combination of tension, temperature, and rhythm defines the result. Lightweight, durable, and flexible surfaces. This process is the heart of modern textile technology, allowing plastic waste to become high-performance fabrics that can rival any traditional synthetic fiber. Once the fabric is formed, it goes through a series of treatments to enhance its texture and functionality. Chemical and thermal baths add properties such as moisture absorption, elasticity, and ventilation. The goal is to create a comfortable material, perfect for eco-friendly sportswear used in training and competition. This is where plastic bottle recycling reveals its full potential. Something once discarded as garbage becomes a high-tech product valued by global brands seeking to reduce the environmental impact of fashion. Two of the biggest names in this sector are Nike, with its Move to Zero project, and Adidas, through its Parley for the Oceans partnership. Both use recycled synthetic fibers made from PET bottles collected worldwide, including from factories in India. Shirts, jackets, and sports pants made from these materials are worn by elite athletes and millions of people every day. This union of sustainable production and physical performance shows that industrial sustainability is not just a concept, but a real practice driving the global economy. The final result is impressive: breathable, durable fabrics with a premium finish. Their appearance is identical to conventional materials, but with one essential difference: they were born from reuse. Every garment produced symbolizes the fusion of science, engineering, and environmental awareness. And as the fabric gets ready to be cut and sewn, the next step will reveal how this transformation reaches the final consumer, completing the cycle of the circular economy. Once the fabric is finished, it moves to the clothing workshops, where it is turned into shirts, pants, and jackets. Every cut is made with precision to make the most of the material, reducing waste and reinforcing the commitment to sustainable production. The seams are reinforced and tested in real-life conditions, simulating body movement during running and training. The goal is to ensure comfort, lightness, and durability, essential qualities in the sustainable sportswear that is changing the way the world sees recycled plastic. These pieces are no different from those made with virgin polyester, but they come with a huge environmental advantage. Each shirt made with recycled polyester reuses an average of 8 plastic bottles that would otherwise be thrown away. When that number is multiplied by the millions of units produced every year, the positive impact becomes enormous. Major international brands such as Nike and Adidas use this same type of fabric in their special lines, showing that waste recycling can go hand in hand with athletic performance and modern design. Inside Indian factories, entire teams work to ensure that every detail meets international quality standards. The garments go through detailed inspections, strength tests, and elasticity measurements. It is a clear example of how India's textile industry has managed to combine tradition, technology, and environmental awareness. The result is a competitive product, exported to dozens of countries and valued by consumers who seek to unite style and responsibility. When these pieces reach the stores, they already carry an invisible story. The story of a bottle that traveled a long path to become something useful and admired. With every new collection, this cycle repeats itself, inspiring new eco-innovation solutions and strengthening the idea that the future of fashion lies in the intelligent reuse of materials. Behind every piece of sportswear made from recycled plastic lies a complex network that drives the economy and transforms entire communities. In India, thousands of families make their living by collecting and sorting plastic bottles, forming the foundation of a system that fuels entire industries. This circular economy model allows discarded material to return to the market with new value, preventing waste accumulation and creating jobs at every stage of the plastic recycling process. It is a clear example of how sustainability can work together with social development. The impact goes far beyond the environmental aspect. In many regions of the country, waste pickers cooperatives have become true micro-enterprises, negotiating directly with factories and achieving better working conditions. Waste recycling is no longer seen as a marginal activity, but as an essential part of industrial sustainability. This proves that when structure and support exist, waste can turn into income and dignity for thousands of people. Indian factories continuously invest in new systems for collection, transportation, and reuse. Every bottle is viewed as a resource unit rather than a problem. This shift in mindset has placed the country among the world leaders in sustainable textile production. The process that begins with collection on the streets ends in export centers that supply international brands, connecting waste pickers, engineers, and consumers across continents under a shared purpose. With each completed cycle, the system grows stronger. Plastic returns to the market in a new form and with new utility, while the environment benefits from the reduction of waste. It is a mechanism that never stops turning, transforming what once polluted the planet into a source of progress and hope. Yet the most remarkable part is still ahead. The future of this recycling model is evolving quickly, powered by new technologies that are set to revolutionize how we produce and what we wear. The story of recycled plastic in fashion is only beginning. India's textile industry has become one of the main hubs of innovation in this field, developing new ways to use recycled polyester and other synthetic fibers. Entire factories are adopting automated systems for temperature control, water filtration, and energy recovery. The goal is to create a sustainable production cycle that is cleaner, more efficient, and increasingly self-sufficient. This mindset has turned India into a global example of industrial sustainability, inspiring companies across sectors to follow the same path. Beyond sportswear, the PET recycling process is now expanding into other areas such as backpacks, shoes, and corporate uniforms. International brands have partnered with Indian factories to develop exclusive fabrics that combine durability, lightness, and design. This expansion shows that eco-friendly clothing is no longer a trend, it is a global movement. Each new piece produced represents progress in turning plastic into something useful, technological, and socially responsible. The combination of science, engineering, and purpose is redefining how we view consumption. Instead of buying and discarding, society is beginning to value reuse. This cultural shift is driven by eco-innovation, which proves that luxury and sustainability can coexist. The factory in India is just one example of a model being replicated around the world, showing that the future of fashion depends less on new raw materials and more on productive intelligence. The road ahead looks promising. With investments in research and new technologies, the production process is becoming even more efficient, reducing costs and expanding the global reach of these solutions. Plastic, once a symbol of pollution, is now becoming a symbol of renewal. And this is only one of the many ways modern engineering is reinventing the things we use every day. From simple discarded bottles to high-performance sportswear, this journey shows how modern engineering and environmental awareness are redefining the future of the industry. Inside these Indian factories, plastic has stopped being a symbol of pollution and has become a renewable and valuable resource. Each meter of recycled polyester produced means less waste in rivers, less environmental impact, and more opportunities for communities that depend on recycling to make a living. What began with waste pickers collecting bottles on the streets has grown into a global chain of sustainable production. The sportswear we see in store windows is not just fashion. It is living proof of circular economy and eco-innovation. India's textile industry is showing the world that it is possible to combine technology, efficiency, and social responsibility in a single process. And perhaps the most fascinating part is realizing how all of this connects us. What was once just a plastic bottle in someone's hand is now part of our everyday lives, whether in a shirt, a pair of sneakers, or an athlete's uniform. This is proof that transformation begins with small choices. When we choose to recycle, support conscious brands, and understand how things are made, we help build a cleaner and smarter future. Now tell me in the comments, Did you ever imagine that a plastic bottle could turn into a piece of sportswear? If you enjoyed discovering this story, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and keep watching the stories behind the factories that move the world. There are still many curious, impressive, and inspiring stories waiting to be told.